VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Thanks for checking in today. YouTube TV, Sirius XM channel 158 and the VSiN Watch app. Great guests on the program, Tim Murray, Matt Humans NFL Draft, Mike Palm a little bit later on, hockey, NBA playoffs, and Major League Baseball. We'll have plenty of buzz on the draft as we're now one day away, and we'll hit the card that we have tonight a bunch, Paulie, with intriguing NBA and NHL contests, much like I thought we had going into the games last night. And look, tip of my cap to J.J. Redick, first-time, only-time head coach anywhere in his career with the Los Angeles Lakers. To get that job as his first ever gig as a coach is kind of bonkers. But I think last night you saw signs of why the Lakers liked him, why LeBron wanted him, and the adjustments that he was able to make. And I thought he was really, really good. And I did not end up betting that game overall because I was making the case yesterday on the air for the Wolves plus the 6. Thank God I didn't. However, outside of that really, really bad first quarter, I thought the Wolves played him pretty tight. But again, think about the adjustments here for a second. Game 1, big storyline. The Wolves playoff franchise record, 21 of 42 from downtown, all those open threes. They were 5 of 25 last night, and overall jump shooting. With all those open shots in Game 1, they were 23 of 48. That's 2s and 3s for 67 points. Last night, 7 of 35 for 19 points, and multiple times during the game, specifically when the Lakers were up 62-51, timeout, underrate, third quarter, he chewed their asses, and it was caught on hot microphones.
Someone next to the bench said there were 12 F-bombs.
I'll buy it.
So good for him. And then the first one came across. The highlight of the game may have been the Laker fans sitting press row behind Redick, and she was spectacular. Both teams were 20% from three. You are right. He did a good job defensively. They were physical, but I think it was more of Minnesota, which concerned me. Well, we got the split, mission accomplished, and now we're going back home on Friday because it didn't have the same intensity, and certainly the shots didn't fall as well. But I think I really liked Minnesota going into the series. I liked them a lot after Game 1, and I love them, even though they lost. The Lakers have scored 94 and 95 points so far in the two games. Mm-hmm. If you're going to play, and I believe there were 43 isolation plays and attempts in what the Lakers did, if you're just going to strictly go at Gobert, and that's the game plan, and it's just LeBron standing around and other guys standing around, this isn't going to work. And that's not going to cut it. And they're going to get blitzed on Friday because, Minnesota's not going to shoot like that again. And they're going to get a big edge from their crowd. And all you need to know is the series price. It's essentially a pick 'em now. After the Lakers were $1.90, the Lakers in big trouble.
Yeah, and look at that. I mean, some spots, kind of you're right in that pick 'em range, right? But basically the Wolves about a minus 115, still favored at some spots as well. And look at now they're taking money here in Game 3 as well, to your point. Right, because if you love them, again, still, and you loved them yesterday, I mean, I'm talking series long now, not just last night, but for the whole series, you loved them.
Yeah, well, the other thing I didn't factor in was, and I should have seen this coming, the Lakers got every call. I mean, the whole T-Wolves team was in foul trouble.
I thought the referees were really bad last night in the game.
Yeah,
and
all the way around,
that sucked,
yes.
Yeah, because, again,
33 points total in the fourth quarter, something like that?
Yeah.
No flow, but they were ready with the whistle, and a lot of Minnesota players were in foul trouble.
Yeah, they were too ready to call it one way last night, and that has to be the fear once in a while, I think, especially with some of these marquee teams. And we talked about that with the Knicks-Pistons game because they were chirping now after Game 2, like, okay, now they started to get the calls in that game. But, the Lakers, after they were blown out, it's the NBA, it's soap opera, right? So... Surprise, surprise, they got a bunch of calls early last night. And by the way, in a playoff stretch now this year where referees were completely swallowing the whistle, Lakers pretty important for the league, I guess, to continue playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
they are hard to officiate, though.
Yeah?
They are. But I just don't think that style's going to work. They should be more run and gun. And they should be more, let's spread it and shoot threes.
I would agree with that part.
Let's just attack Gobert. Let's just try to find Conley and then go one-on-one and try to find a mismatch. Meanwhile, the other guy's in the corner doing nothing.
That's exactly right. Stagnant, not a lot of motion.
No.
And that's not going to get it done.
Well, Finch realized he shouldn't play Gobert. I mean, the Lakers have no size and no one down low, and Gobert still can't take advantage and do anything, and the guy's 7'2".
I know.
Will he say, they're going at him? Yeah, will he say, I don't care what you make, I don't care what you've accomplished, I'm not playing you. I don't need to play you.
Yeah, this might be one of those series where, and look, they were completely comfortable trading Karl Anthony Towns because they knew what they had in Naz Reid. I think this is going to be a spot where Naz Reid could absolutely shine, and he probably deserves to be on the court a little bit more than the current run that he's getting at this point. And we've seen this with Gobert. We saw it last year against the Mavericks. We saw it that one series with the Jazz a couple years ago. That was against the Mavericks. He had no spot in the series whatsoever. He was worthless on the court. Couldn't do anything. So interesting to see how he's going to handle that. But the market does agree with you because the Timberwolves opened up 3, and they're sitting at 3.5 now, taking a little bit of money in this game. And look, I would be absolutely floored if the Lakers go to Minnesota and take these 2 middle games.
Oh, that's not happening.
And they go back, and if it's 3-1 Lakers, I cannot see that happening. Yeah. I think the Wolves match up with this team way too well. And they had a piss poor first quarter last night.
Oh, they were terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ant hasn't gone off either. That's the other thing. But Redick can make adjustments. Maybe they change how they play. But that's certainly what they've done, though. You're not going to win 4 games like that. There's just no way.
Not scoring 95 points.
You just hope Minnesota misses and can't do anything offensively. So good job defensively. And they definitely were physical, and Hachimura coming out with the mask, and like Redick said, he was a warrior. But you're not 94 and 95 points with what they have and the talent offensively?
That also ties into, look at how that total crashed in the game. Right? 210.5 is where it closed at. That, came down like 7 points. And so total so far through 13 games in the NBA playoffs are 10-3 to the under. And we talked about that a little bit yesterday. Look at these current totals that we have on the board tonight, and all of them basically have moved. Magic Celtics opened 201.5 down to 196.5 in that game. There's a 5-point move. Heat Cavaliers.
Completely disagree with this one.
Yeah, and
this is going over.
I would agree. Yeah. I think this line move might be incorrect.
All 4 meetings have gone over this number: 121-100 in Game 1, 122 to 113, 126 to 106, and 112 to 107.
That's who the Cavaliers are.
Yeah, I didn't like how they played defensively either. So I disagree with this move.
Yeah, they play 1,000 miles an hour, and they are absolutely elite on offense.
Yes. The first one makes sense. Tatum doubtful. Orlando number 2 in defense and the slowest team in the league.
Right.
That I buy. And there's just only 2 guys that can score.
So, man, don't we have to think that Tatum is going to be out of the game tonight based on the current point spread?
Yeah, and he didn't play twice against Orlando when they lost.
Sure.
So I like Orlando first half and Orlando for the game.
And they're sitting there at 10, and they were, 13 in Game 1? And the way they closed that game out, they covered it eventually. But that tells you that Tatum, to me, can't be in this game tonight if it's down to 10. Because that certainly, to your point there, is going to mean something, obviously. And the other game would be Warriors-Rockets, open 206.5. And that's down a couple of points as well. And now the Rockets, by the way, up to 3.5-point favorites.
Too much of a tax here based on the season on the line.
I think Warriors' money line looks a little attractive tonight.
This is a veteran team. I don't think they'll act like Minnesota.
I don't think so either.
I think they know there's just blood in the water. Let's go up 2-0 and end this.
I think with how many miles those players have on the old odometers, respectively, I think they want to take care of business. They don't want to go 7 games if they don't have to. I think the Warriors are like, man, we can make another run here. Who knows? If we get a couple of breaks, we might be playing for another championship. And if that's the scenario, like our best path is to play as few games as possible, and I think they're going to be all business again tonight.
I agree. Yep. They're all over Doc in Milwaukee, too, by the way.
Well, they should be.
All over him. So, again, when the starters are on the floor, they're getting bounced, and he won't make an adjustment. And he starts Kuzma again. They can't stand him. He starts Prince again. Freak goes off, and you get an all-time game from Portis, and you're still down 10 to 15 points for much of the game. It doesn't look good for this. Again, this would be the 3rd straight year they lose in the first round. They don't have a first-round pick till 2031. I mean, it's a tough matchup, but you get that from Freak and you get that from Portis, and you're still down 15.
So think about watching that game, and they did cut it to too late.
Yep.
Which was like the only time during the entire game because they kept trying to like chisel away at that 10 to 15 point lead. But as soon as they would, the Pacers would hit them right back. And they just credit the Pacers. And you can say, look, the Bucks were horrible on defense last night. Fine, I get it, but the Pacers also made like a zillion shots, and they started off on fire. So all that considered, this was Doc Rivers, who's been around this game for so long. This was his reaction to what he watched in Game 2 to tie into Game 1 after the game last night.
I guess you just start Game 3 and trust that adjustments will be made and things.
We'll just see. We have time. We have 48 hours. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing right now because I don't know. But we'll figure it out. I'm very confident about this series. Very.
Amazing.
You got to change the starting lineup, and you're down 0-2. They have your number. You're very confident.
You're very confident, and you're getting your doors blown off here.
Yeah,
for the most part. In these first two games,
all 5 starters are in double figures.
Yes,
you can't get stops.
No, 0 stops can be had at all. You're quite confident. The guy's been lost in space for 25 years.
Still no answer for Siakam. None. No answer.
Oh, do you think they're going to be able to stop Halliburton?
I love this, though, too. Both teams hate each other.
Right, that's true.
I love it. There's something. There's a skirmish. There's a argument.
There might be a brawl coming.
That's in play. That is in play.
Yeah.
But they are, boy, the yapping and the stuff that goes on every game is nuts. NFL Draft, one of the few betting events where research beats reputation. VSiN Pro helps you cash in. VSiN Pro access through August 1st, just $59. Full summer of sharp betting insights at half the price. You'll get every best bet, every host, every guest, the 24/7 video access on the VSiN Watch app, the betting splits that everyone loves, from DK and Circa, from draft to the Derby and beyond, every sport, every edge, one low price. VSiN.com/subscribe. Incredible offer, just $59 to August 1st. VSiN.com/subscribe.
All right, 1 day away from the draft. So much buzz surrounding this event, as always. We'll give you the latest from Peter Schrager, ESPN, what he's hearing, some predictions. And based on this slide, it would be significant for this player. And Todd McShay, oh my God, some of the stuff that he had to say, what he's hearing. We'll share it next.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
On the next, a numbers game. It is Thursday. You know what that means. Zach and Crack. Zach Cohen talking tennis with us from Madrid. Also, the National Basketball Association playoffs, of course, and his final thoughts on the NFL draft. The draft is finally here. And, of course, the Crack portion. Unscripted with the Crack man, Bill Krackenberger. Anything that's on his mind from a sports betting perspective, we will get into it. Plus, Michael Montesano on the NFL draft as well. It's a numbers game. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, right here at VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
NFL draft comes up tomorrow night. Lots of buzz. Probably lots of noise. I think maybe some news around it as well. We'll give you what a bunch of pundits have been saying here the last 24 hours or thereabouts. Peter Schrager, mock draft ESPN. What do you think about that, by the way? You went from an NFL Network to ESPN, and we were always up against Good Morning Football, so I never had a chance to watch the show, but I think that was a very popular spot for him, was it, on NFL Network?
Yeah, surprising. I think it says more about NFL Network. That is a bizarre move, certainly. But what I found interesting in his mock is I think this is in play. And I'm on the over now, 2.5 quarterbacks. I think this is in play that the Giants trade in to the first round in the mid-20s and take Dart. I think that's definitely in play and a good chance that happens.
Okay, so then right now you're going to get the best number
that's right.
ever available on over 2.5.
And I don't know about Sanders to Pittsburgh, but I think whether that happens or it's a trade, that you find a way to get 3. And it's going to go over.
How about this? ESPN bet. They are posting players to go in the second round. And Shedeur Sanders moved to minus 120 yesterday to be a second-round pick.
Yeah.
It's a one-way market. There's no on that. So they can do whatever they want with the VIG.
Yeah. And here at Circa, and I like what they did at Circa, they're like, well, we don't want any more of this money. Just how much juice do you want to eat? He's 8.5 over minus 1,000 now.
Yeah.
Got to bet 1,000 to win 100. So they're not moving the number because there's some. One book went to 10.5. 10.5 over minus 450. But it's just,
is that right?
But it's just like, yeah, he's not. And it also coincides with the article that came out where several executives ripped him to shreds. Horrible interview, entitled, all this stuff, and just went after the guy. And stuff he did in college will not play well in the locker room. They don't care who your dad is, yada, yada, yada.
Okay, so what do you make of that number then right now? Because NFL draft time, again, laying 1,000, if you have the information, is like, sometimes it could be like laying even money. Right? Again, this is not a ball game we're talking about here. This is like based on information.
Yeah, 8.5 over minus 350 was the nuts, which what's they open, but it's just there's no way he's going top 10, and I can't see top 15 anyways. It'd have to be 21 to the Steelers, or if they trade up, maybe 18, 19 in that range, which I don't think will happen either. And then Dart in the mid-20s, and I think the Giants are hot and heavy with Dart. And the others, I'm confident the exact order 1 through 5. That's $1.20 at DraftKings. Where it goes.
No, you can't be confident.
I am.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Let me tell you. Okay, go ahead. Explain your reason. I'll tell you what Todd McShay said today.
Okay, fair. I'll go Ward. I'll go Hunter. I'll go Carter. I don't think you get any argument on the top 3 picks.
Bears evidently, again, this might be smoke. Very hot and heavy on Abdul Carter. Want to trade up to number 3 to get him.
Okay.
But he would still go third.
But they can't do that though, because you have an owner and a GM that have to win now. And that's why the Giants can't take a quarterback top 5, and why the Giants, to me, can't trade the pick. And then I'm sticking with Campbell at 4, where Rich Eisen said the Patriots are in love with him. And then whether he goes to Jacksonville or not, it's Genti at 5. Do they stay put? Is it a trade? Genti at 5. And then a guy I trust says, and this is 8-1, by the way, says Mason Graham to the Raiders and the Spy Tech Michigan connection. Maybe it's worth. I think that's worth some pizza money. That's where I'm at. Okay.
This is Todd McShay in his podcast today. He said the Patriots might very well go Will Campbell, number 4 overall. And he said every single person who I've talked to said you absolutely cannot take him 4th overall. Said he is not even close to being the 4th best player in this draft. So you might be happy with the guy, and you might be ending up taking him at number 4 overall. He might turn out to be a guard, but you could also trade out of that pick if you can have like any buyers there and without any question get him later on in the draft. They said this is him with all of his sources, all of his connections, said every single person said you cannot take him 4th overall. And that's when he tied in Genti could be in play at number 4, but that could have to probably be a trade out from the Patriots at that point. And the team that might want to do that would be Denver, based on how much, according to reports, Sean Payton is absolutely smitten with Ashton Genti.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can agree or disagree all you want with a team trading up to number 4 to take a running back. You might think it's completely silly. Hell, I think most of you probably would at this point. That's just what he's saying.
What else you got? Did he talk? This is getting steam, too. Jets taking Warren. That's picking up steam.
Well, Schrager had that.
Yeah. And you could see 2 tight ends go top 10.
Another one because he had the Colts trading up to number 10 with the Bears.
I've also seen the Bears taking a tight end, too. So whether it's Warren or Loveland.
This is also what McShay said today with that number 3 overall pick in the New York Giants. He said that Brian Daboll would prefer Jackson Dart to Shedeur Sanders, from what he gathers, from what he's hearing. Like, that would be the play. However, he like maybe Daboll even wants him at number 3, as crazy as that might sound. And Jackson Dart to go to the Giants at number 3 is like 90-1, right? I think that would blow everybody away last night if that was their pick. But he said that's where, and he pointed out, like, look, it's been a rough stretch minus the 1 year for Daboll with the Giants. But he goes, I can count basically both hands how many guys in the league that I absolutely trust as a quarterback developer and somebody who knows how to run an offense. Brian Daboll is one of those guys. So you trust him. That's the guy that you have, and they gave him another year. So the Giants brass, they certainly do, to this point anyway, still trust Brian Daboll. So you would trust his opinion on the quarterback coming out. But that's also when the GM, Joe Schoen here, has to step in and say, hold on, Cowboy. We can't possibly turn down a guy like Abdul Carter at number 3 and go Jackson Dart. Mm-hmm. However, here's what we can do. If that's the guy that you're in love with and you're convinced can be our guy here down the road, we'll take Carter 3rd, and that's when they can use some other draft capital to trade back into the first round some point to take Dart then.
In a sweet spot, like in the mid-20s there. And he opened 21.5. He's up to 24.5, over minus $2.
Now, this also, I completely believe, and it's been out there before, but he shared this on his podcast today. The Giants offered an absolute boatload for the number 1 overall pick. And he said it probably goes back to around the NFL Combine because they absolutely want Cam Ward. Titans turned him down. They tried multiple times. Titans said, no, we're keeping number 1 overall. And this is why, and we were screaming on the air after they did it, and we do it every single year when a team that's in position to draft number 1 overall, and they screwed up by winning a meaningless game, and I will argue with anybody to the death on this, when the Giants defeated the Colts for no reason whatsoever late in the season, it now cost them the guy that they really wanted overall. And that guy was Cam Ward. And so they dropped down in the draft from number 1 to number 3, and then think about if the Titans would have said yes, that win would have cost, how much were they willing to give up? According to his sources, an absolute boatload. You just have to sit there and scratch your head.
It's all good stuff, and no one talks to more people than McShay. But, I trust this guy with the Raiders, and it's good value at 8-1, 7-1. And Daniel Jeremiah noted in February that the Raiders may prioritize the best defensive player available over O-line help. And Carroll, with not who knows how long he's going to coach for, probably come in, want to win right away. I think there could be something there. Now, the other thing is, and Samich talked about this yesterday, good breakdown. How far does that guy fall if he gets past 6? He is 5.5 over minus 310 now.
Wow.
Like Miami, how far does he drop?
That's
if he doesn't
question.
go 5 or 6, that's a big ticket.
Well, because there's also like 3 other defensive linemen that people are all over, and they're saying that they're moving up in the biggest risers of the draft at this point. I will point this out. Well, first of all, Schrager also had McMillan, the wide receiver, falling to Tampa Bay at number 19. McShay says Jacksonville is in play at number 5 for him, which I can't. But
yeah, he won't. I don't think he'll be there.
And one more note from Charlie Campbell, who is a respected draft guy. He said Jacksonville is keeping things hush-hush, but he thinks their pick is down to Genty, Mason Graham, and Kenneth Grant. He has Genty going there. I looked. Grant is 150-1 to go 5th overall, and he's like mocked in the 20s by everybody.
Okay.
But according to what he's hearing, it's down to those 3 players.
What do you think of Genty as a pro? Well, we love him, but what do you think as a pro?
In the right spot, I think he's a home run.
Yeah?
Yeah. Don't you?
I think top 5's aggressive.
Oh, I don't think those are the right.
I also agree with Von Tobel that even at 6, the Raiders have a bad offensive line. So you had the worst rushing attack in the league. You got to get an offensive line first.
So love the guy. I think Jacksonville will be making a huge mistake. I could say the same thing about the Raiders. I brought up the Patriots. I don't think they're ready to So, no, if he goes to the right team with a really good offensive line, I think he's going to be awesome. But that's not the case for those teams picking there.
Mm-hmm. The Denver angle's good. Yep. Take your betting to the next level with First Bet. Whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream, or the road to the Derby and Preakness, First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. Sign up now, firstbet.com. Promo code VSiN200. Get a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days up to $200. Don't miss out. Bet smarter today. Firstbet.com.
Up next, we'll continue talking NFL draft observations and best bets with Tim Murray right here at VSiN. He noted a player that appears to be one of the fastest risers in the draft. Big odds still available on him. Find out which player that is next here on Follow the Money.
To the Derby, playoffs to the draft. We have your summer covered with a VSiN Pro subscription for just $59 until August 1st. That means expert picks for every major event, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 video access on the VSiN Watch app, as well as betting guides for the Kentucky Derby and the NFL. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe for just $59 and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. NFL Draft set for tomorrow night. And Tim Murray going to be on the coverage right here on VSiN along with Matt Humans and Matt Brown throughout the entire event. Going to be a great show here on the network, and he joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line to go over some observations and best bets a little bit more than 24 hours out. Timmy, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How you doing?
What's up, boys? Just trying to put together this puzzle that is the NFL Draft.
Okay, so as of this morning, and there's a lot to get into. You had some great tweets earlier today I want to ask you about, but as of like right now, if you could make one bet, and only one bet, as we're now, a day and a couple hours away yet from the NFL Draft starting, what would you bet?
Ooh, I guess it's a complex question because I think the bets I'm making right now, guys, are just kind of some long shots. Like I bet Bears to draft Ashton Genty at plus 400. I bet Rams first pick to be tight end at 6-1. But the one, and I think we'll get into this here with the Walter Nolan tweet that I put out there that is available at BetMGM and every shop at around plus money. I think MGM is the best at plus 110 that I saw. I've seen a couple of folks that I respect their opinion, and I know they have some ties to the Niners organization, say that he could be Walter Nolan at 11. Diana Rossini said the Niners expect to stick and pick and look edge. So I would bet, and I bet it personally, 49ers to pick edge or D-line at even money plus 110. I think MGM is plus 110. I think stations here in Vegas, which I know a lot of our listeners obviously can't bet, but they're at even money. You can get it even money or better. So that would be a bet that I think I would look at right now at some palatable juice. Other one that I'll note, and I was just about to bet it, guys, and the number went way up, which kind of made me a little grumpy. Behind where you guys sit, I think Will Johnson is falling. I think this is a situation where we saw Albert Breer say earlier this week that Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, could be a guy that falls a little bit. The number now is 18.5. It's juiced over minus $2. Guys, think about this. Earlier this week for Will Johnson, Circa put up 13.5, minus 120 both ways. I played over, and now it's at 18.5. I don't know if I'd lay $2, but I do think Will Johnson is a guy that is potentially falling. So maybe you look at a matchup with him and Barron, the D-back out of Texas, as a possibility. But I think if you're talking about palatable juice right now, guys, I think the way I would look from a fair price would be Niners to go edge or D-line at around even money plus 110.
I will point this out. Earlier this morning, and I put that up on the picks page at vsin.com, I took first defensive back selected, not named Travis Hunter. I took Barron at plus 120 because of the slide that's happening with Johnson. I think Barron's now minus 175, but you never know. You might find a book out there that is still sleeping in that market somehow, and Barron at a good number. Although I will say that he was plus 270 a couple of days ago. So, but this is the NFL Draft, and I'll gladly still take plus 120 on that, even though he was plus 270 a couple of days back.
Yeah, that's such the tricky thing about the draft where, we here at this network and so many of our listeners and folks who consume VSiN.com, we want the best price on everything, but it's just impossible, especially with the NFL draft. So sometimes you got to eat some juice too. I think Barron at minus $1.75, probably getting a little rich, maybe get a little creative there. I'll say this, I was looking, and let me just double check something. And look around, you might be able to find some of these markets, but, Will Johnson, I'm looking at some mocks right now. Schrager had him 28th, McShay 19th. Edwards from CBS had him 22nd. So he seems to be one that is dropping a decent bit here.
Let me throw a couple of other angles at you. And you brought up Walter Nolan because I did hear, I think it was Bucky Brooks and Lance Zierlein talking about it on a podcast that dropped last night. And Lance Zierlein said if you just put on the tape from every defensive lineman available in this draft, Walter Nolan's the best player. He's the best player at that position. Off the field stuff is why he hasn't been necessarily in the top 10, but now he is climbing like you talked about. BetMGM has Nolan 15-1 to go top 10. That was higher earlier today. But you noted that 49ers there, and you like that angle to take like lineman or edge. But think about the teams that are drafting before number 11 and in the top 10, right? You're talking about the Jets, the possibility there of taking that position. Same thing with Carolina for sure. Same thing with the Saints. Maybe one of those teams says, you know what, we agree with what Lance Zierlein said. He is the best defensive lineman in this draft, so we got to take him like in the top 10.
Well, like I said, Mitch, I've been taking long shots. I took a bunch of long shots on Jalen Walker today. I took, 4th overall, 6th overall. I think Jalen Walker, everything you read about him has just been immaculate outside of just maybe a little bit undersized. But Walter Nolan, I'll read you the quote, and I put it in my mock that I'm going to send over to Adam Burke here in just a little bit. But this was the quote from, I believe it was Albert Breer. Oh, no, Peter Schrager. He said, quote, "I'd be shocked if Nolan fell out of the top 15 at this point. He might be the fastest riser in this draft." So to your point, Mitch, here we are in a draft that we've been told there are, 2.5 blue chip prospects in Hunter and Abdul Carter, maybe Ashton Genty if you want to throw him in there. So if you're getting a guy that someone like Bucky Brooks, who evaluates players as well as anybody out there, says he's the best player just pound for pound from a skill standpoint, and then you get that quote from Peter Schrager saying he's rising, yeah, you take it a 15-1 shot. And then once again, I reference him a lot. You say what you will about him, but Todd McShay had Walter Nolan going 8 in his mock today. So 15-1 long shot. I said this just a little while ago, Mitch, and I'm curious your guys' thoughts of where we are here in the draft process. I think today, unless you have some really concrete information that from something you trust or someone you trust and you beat the market on a big move, I think today is about taking some long shots because, look, I don't know about you guys. I'm not convinced that after number 3, this thing's going to be as chalky as we assume, right? Like, I am not convinced right now that the Patriots are taking Will Campbell. I think they could trade back. I think a team could potentially trade up to get maybe an Ashton Genty. Maybe it would be Jalen Walker. We had Tony Pauline on the show earlier this week, guys, and he said that he anticipates the Patriots to throw a curveball. He said he wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Walker goes number 4. So I'm not convinced come tomorrow night, guys, that number 4 is a complete curveball because it's a clear need for the Patriots at 4, that they need an offensive lineman. We know that, but you've got a new head coach, and are they just going to go a little bit further down the board to fill a need, or do they try to take a high upside selection? So once again, long-winded answer, Mitch, to your point, Walter Nolan, 15-1, top 10, absolutely, in my opinion, worth a shot.
Since we've been talking, the exact order, top 5 has moved to $1.40. If you want to take Tim's advice and go Walker and then Genty 4 or 5, that pays 15-1 at DraftKings. 2 minutes left. In light of the article that came out today with the anonymous sources ripping Sanders, where you at with the quarterback prop now? 2.5 over, and it's come down to under now, plus 105 in some spots.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, Paulie. So I did take a little plus 260 on the under earlier this week at plus 105. Probably not going to play it, but look, I have a pretty nice ticket on Shador to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We bet that, I think, a week ago on primetime at plus 650. But I don't know, man. The more and more I think about it, I think the quotes that you're hearing from a number of folks, I think it was Rogers from SNY. I apologize if it's someone else, but I think he had the quote that he sees it's hard to believe seeing 3 quarterbacks go in the first round. Todd McShay's talked about it the past couple of days, guys, where folks that he's talked to have said it's more likely 1 than 3 in the first round. And, the way I look at it, and obviously last year we saw 6 quarterbacks go in the top 12, but the way I look at it, if you're betting over 2.5, you're betting on trades. And can trades happen? Of course. It's the NFL draft. We could see teams like Washington at 29 trade back and a team like Cleveland go into 29. I don't know about you guys, but I think the Giants going around and having those private workouts with Milroe, with Dart, with Sanders, with Shuck, to me, it screamed, let's just figure out if we don't have to move up. And we can just be comfortable here in the early part of the second round with any one of those quarterbacks. So, at plus 105, Paulie, am I racing to take the under? No. But in my mock that I'm going to put out here in just a little bit, I'm only going to have 2 quarterbacks. And I did put Shador to Pittsburgh, but I don't feel great about it. Yeah. I think Shador could see a fall, and I think Cleveland certainly is a possibility for him early on in the second round. And, I think there, maybe New York as well. But I think we see under 2.5 quarterbacks in the first round tomorrow night.
All right. Tim, you put a lot of time and research into this bad boy every single year. Can't wait to look at your mock, which is going to be up at VSiN.com by top of the hour probably?
Yeah, hopefully in a little bit. I got to put some finishing touches on the bottom part, but yeah, hopefully soon.
Okay. All right, buddy. Thank you. Best of luck tomorrow night.
See you guys.
There you go. And he's going to be on the coverage with Matt Brown and Matt Humans for 4 solid hours during the entire draft, and he joined us on the Progressive guest line. So that's 15-1 exact order, but then you got to get
Walker in there at 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Paul's going to recap last night's betting action with win some, lose some. Congratulations to those of you who grabbed him early in the season because he was in the 100-1 range.
In the heart of downtown Las Vegas, a sports oasis awaits. Stadium Swim, the ultimate outdoor amphitheater, built for the ultimate sports fan, with a colossal screen that brings the game closer than ever. Reserve a daybed, private cabana, or lounge in the center of it all. 6 pools to dive into as the game heats up. And the best part, there's never an off-season. Open 365 days a year. Stadium Swim, it's always spectator season.
Your favorite VSiN shows and personalities are now available to download as podcasts. Catch every hour of our live broadcast with VSiN Best Bets, or find your go-to show and download it directly. Get instant reactions to last night's games, sharp analysis on today's biggest matchups, and everything in between. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just catching up, VSiN lets you take the action with you wherever and whenever you want. Search VSiN on your favorite podcast platform and get in on the action with VSiN, the sports betting network. last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
They are not messing around here. They announced the finalists Sunday night, and bam, right into the awards. And Peyton Pritchard, Sixth Man of the Year, was 100-1 before the season. I would have voted for Beasley, but it goes to Pritchard. Had a great year, and that was a big ticket, that cash, and I'm sure they're going to give another one away tonight.
Why do you think
games are on
Pritchard
TNT.
won the award then over Beasley? He had great numbers overall.
I don't know. Maybe not a lot of people watch the Pistons enough.
Probably because he plays for the Celtics?
Yeah.
Nothing to do with it?
Always on national TV.
Yeah, I thought
his half-court shots. And
I thought both guys were deserving of the award.
Yep.
But people Beasley was fantastic pretty much the entire year, too.
Yes, he was. Awesome from three. Under so far, 10-3, as Mitch mentioned. Wolves, Lakers under 217, down to 211.5. Pacers, Bucks over 225, up to 230.5. The Diamondbacks, $1.50 up to $2. And the Royals, well, they screwed around in the ninth inning and almost found out. Minus 210 up to 280. That 11 straight road losses for Colorado?
Yep.
It was 3-0 in the ninth. And the Mets just walked it off. The Mets got 2 in the 10th. They beat the Phillies. They're 12-1 at home.
Well, Philly backers have to be sick today. Top of the 10th.
Yep.
Now, hold on. Let me back up. The Mets had runners on first and second, bottom of the ninth, nobody out. Phillies got out of it. So it's not as bad as it seems. But fast forward to the top of the 10th, Phillies got one across. They take a 3-2 lead. They also had the bases loaded with one out, and that was it. They couldn't score any more runs, and then the Mets got him for 2 in the bottom half.
Mm-hmm. Rough. And then you lose. You got good news, but then Sanchez got hurt yesterday.
I think this is their year.
Really?
The Mets.
Pitching's been great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Wild plus 210. Boy, it's why we love sports. I mean, you look up in the third period late, they have 15 shots on goal, and it's 4-1. I mean,
well,
it was 3-0 in the first period at home. The Knights got their asses kicked.
It was a total barrage by the Wild to begin, and Aiden Hill was standing on his head, and then the dam broke. Nothing that he could do. He was amazing, and then the Wild just kept attacking, and then boom, there's 3 in your face.
Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in, we'll put you on. This is awesome. Where you got the buddies here. The one dog is sleeping in the living room, out cold, and the guy's looking up like, "What are you doing? Are you going to wake up so we can play?" Look at the head nod, tilting the head, right? What's going on? Boy, you are out. You're snoring. What gives? Wake up, buddy. Can I wake him up? He doesn't know what to do.
I love the head tilting.
Right.
The entire time.
Yeah. Like, what's going on here? You okay? You want to wake up? Come on, play fetch? Something? We've shown this a couple times, but I've never seen this angle. Remember the bulldog who hates no, you got the garbage can one? This one's funny. Yeah. This is the one where the dog's playing with the toy.
Oh, the squeaky toy, and he howls at it?
The squeaky toy, howling. Look at his buddy. Will you knock it off already? It's always great when you have a dog misbehaving or doing something eccentric, and then you'll see the brother or sister on the couch like, what gives? Like, what are you doing? Okay, this is one I was talking about. The bulldog who hates garbage cans. Look at this angle coming in. Boom! Bam! Lay it out. There's another one. Take that one out. Every day he goes for his walk. He can't stand garbage cans. He runs up to all of them, and he just... Did I get to knock it over? And he knocks them all 3 of them. Get the other one. Yep, no problem. And he makes sure... I love this here. He comes in, nails it, right? Gets the other one, and then here he knocks it over and makes sure the other one falls over as well. So he comes back to it. Oh, that's great.
I have him pegged as a 4th-round pick tomorrow.
Absolutely.
No,
yeah.
On the weekend.
Good motor. Yep. And we know football now. Hall of Fame game. July 31st. Chargers-Lions. That's awesome.
Wow. Lions 231.5.
Okay. And I don't know. I'll put this under win some because they won last night even though they were outplayed. The Toronto Maple Leafs lead a series 2-0 for the first time since 2002. Wow. Come on. Isn't that something? Lose some. Great job last night with the porta potty for Shaq on Inside the NBA. That was awesome after he had to run to the bathroom. But I can't believe, and I know Mike Palm's going to tee them all up coming up with You Cannot Be Serious. Kenny Smith, You Cannot Be... Well, we don't know. We can't say the Lakers won the trade and we can't rip Nico because the Lakers are still playing. And we don't... What?
What?
Yes, we do, Kenny. The Lakers are playing. The Mavs didn't make the playoffs. You traded a top 5 player at 25 and you didn't shop him.
That has nothing to even do with it.
No one challenged him. No one challenged him.
Oh, my God.
We don't know yet.
You don't know yet. Well, then get somebody on there who does know, because you're totally clueless at that point.
This is after Barkley lit him up about, don't do any more press conferences. You look so bad.
Yes, he does.
Well, we don't know yet, Kenny says. We can't give it a grade.
That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
I know. No one challenged him. There's 3 guys sitting there.
I know people who have been in big TV spots for a long time who just are baffled that guy has a spot. They've always been blown away. Like, what does he know? What does he do?
Yeah.
Like, he's so
years,
awful.
20 years of running to the screen. We're still doing that.
It's such a great show, though, overall. Like, how many other shows would bring on a porta potty?
Right.
That's amazing.
They were great. Yeah, that was phenomenal. I know. They are really pushing the envelope because will ESPN tolerate that stuff? Dodgers blew it again. 10-7 in the 8th. They lose. Cubs walk them off.
So yesterday when we talked about that game, I'm like, this has over written all over it, but I can't do it because it's 8.5. It was over, in the first inning?
Second inning? I know.
That was a fun one to watch.
Yeah, how about Royals' run line? 3-0 in the 9th? Ridiculous.
They had bases loaded, by the way, bottom of the 10th or 11th. It's hoping for the Grand Slam.
Profit X offering the best odds all baseball season long. Profit X, a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40-plus states, the first of its kind in the U.S. You'll be able to make your sports picks against other groups of fans rather than against books. Exchanges guarantee you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. You can even request your own odds. Download Profit X today, code VSiN. Get up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. Get it now, Profit X.
I believe all 5 games so far today in Major League Baseball stayed under the total, the way it looks. And the Yankees got one by Cleveland, 5-1 final score. That was Cleveland was going for their first home sweep of the Yankees in
70s?
A generation or more than that. Aaron Judge was 2 for 4. He had a triple. He missed a home run it was real close. He's batting .415 on the year.
Another over with the A's.
At home, at night.
That's right.
At night.
Yep. Piece of cake. Padres 12-1 at home. Dodgers 10-2. Mets 12-1. Atlanta 2-10 on the road. St. Louis 2-11. White Sox 1-10. Colorado 1-12.
Yeah, and Rays 0-4.
And you're right, and the Rays 0-4. Blown out last night. This is a lot of stuff going on here to monitor and watch. It's real.
I played a couple of parlays today, fading those bad teams on the road. I tied in the Royals again. That was a loser for me yesterday because I had minus 2.5 runs. But I'm coming right back with the Royals again today. The starting pitcher for the Rockies.
Marquez is terrible.
Marquez has been absolutely god-awful.
Always been bad, yeah.
So I got to trust the Royals again to get it done at home with this Rockies outfit just so bad on the road. And your Minnesota Twins, look, they're no great shakes, but...
They beat them 13 in a row.
Yeah.
And 15 of 17 and 22 of 25.
So that's one that I tied in, and also played around a little bit with the Diamondbacks at home.
Sure.
Going against the Rays.
Sure.
So I don't mind the pitching matchup, but also there's this thing where Tampa on the road is not really that great so far, very small sample size, but the Diamondbacks are a good baseball team overall. Think that they're just better from top to bottom pretty much everywhere, and expect them to win the game tonight. And so the market tells you that they're favored. They're going to win this game more times than not. So I tied in like 3 different teams in various parlays today.
On this day, Tatis hit 2 grand slams in the same inning. I was watching the game.
You were watching it live?
Cardinals, Dodgers. What's more astonishing about it? It was off Chan-Ho Park. He gave up both.
Oh.
Why is he still in the game?
How many earned runs did he allow in that game?
The same guy hit 2 grand slams in the same inning off the same pitcher.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say in our lifetime, we'll never have a batter hit 2 grand slams in the same inning ever again. We'll probably never have that in the same game ever again. But you want to talk about unbreakable records, that's certainly unbreakable. Because a guy would have to hit 3 in the same inning.
Yeah, it's like the Vandermeer thing. Back-to-back starts with no-nos.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You like anything here today in baseball? Weird day today, right?
Yeah, we went
5-day games all done.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else later on tonight. Oh, I got
A's
one.
game over again, and Giants are 13-2 against righties.
That total 6.5. Peralta against Webb. Do you want to take the Nationals at home plus money against this absolute stink bomb outfit in the Orioles?
They did it again. Now, how that stayed under was a miracle, but this starting rotation is worse than the league. Brutal. Now, the Nats actually have the good numbers with their starters at home, but plus 120 with the Nats again. It's a tire fire. What's going on with Baltimore?
Sure.
How are you that got an ERA of 6 and change? And you're down big already and early in that game yesterday.
I'll have some numbers coming up in about 20 minutes on today's starter for the Orioles. It tells you, it suggests anyway, that regression is coming for him. So maybe a play on the Nats would be wise again today. NBA hockey numbers up next. Felt like a couple of different statements were made last night.
And we're out.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I need to load funds into my gaming apps.
Stormy,